Massey, Board of Education. I've had many people to look up to so far in my life. One of them was Sergeant Joe Friday. Sergeant Friday conducted his interviews with this famous line, "All we want are the facts, ma'am." I'd like to give you just the facts on the impact of reducing the Board of Ed budget. Some of you have heard me say before, some of these are new. The concern, the enrollment in our school system is lower this year than in past years. The idea, however, that we can eliminate staff because of this is just not accurate. The fact is, reduction in students are spread across the district. At Dodd, we saw an increase of 5 students, and at Cheshire High, it was a decrease of 26. While there is a reduction of students at the high school, you cannot simply reduce a teacher. Each teacher is certified by the state in an area of expertise, and unlike some other places of employment, they are not interchangeable at the high school or middle school levels. Concern. The Board of Education are just renters and the town is the landlord. The fact is we are responsible for our maintenance and upkeep of our buildings under our control. We must still budget in our operating budget or our 5-year capital expense budget for those expenses. Medical benefits have been talked about earlier this evening. The fact is, since Dr. Floro has submitted a proposed budget to us, the medical benefits account has been reduced by $625,000. This was done by having more accurate information from our carrier. This was also done by gambling that our claims will not go over 100%. As was discussed in the workshop meeting, the town manager and the superintendent have addressed the concern that the trust fund balance is moving to a precariously low level. I echo that concern and add in the fact that you may be fine for this year, but with any further reduction in that line item, I will be standing here next year saying, "I told you so." The fact is, without putting money into the trust fund, it will eventually run dry, which would force us to pay out of our operating budget. Last year, because of teacher retirements, we ended up with a surplus in that salary line item. And in an agreement with you, we placed those funds into the trust fund to mitigate some of the increases in this year's budget and to keep the fund funded. Remember, this is the only way that the board can carry over money. Concern. We can rely on more teacher retirements. The fact is, over the past 4 years, the district has seen a very large increase in teacher retirements over the previous few years. In 30 or so years, the district will once again see that increase as it is cyclical. The truth is that cycle is now shutting down. In the proposed budget, the increase in that line item is at a lower percentage-wise than the contractual increase called for in the current contract. That is due to a younger staff who have lower salaries and lower grid levels. Concern. Just shut the buildings down because they are in disrepair. The fact is, the school buildings are not falling apart, they are not in danger of closing, and they are not unhealthy. They are old, and they need more attention to keep operating at peak performance. Just shutting a building down is not a viable solution. With the removal of the $300,000 from the superintendent's proposed budget to be included in our request to you for capital money this summer, we have made a decision of which pocket is to be taken out of. The hard fact is the buildings do need attention to remain operating effectively, let alone efficiently. Here are some more facts and some answers to some of your questions and to what was raised earlier by Mr. Malone. If you were to reduce the board budget by $385,000, this is the impact. We will be relegated to reduce funding from account line items that are currently running in deficits, such as substitutes, IAs, utilities, and transportation, as well as pupil services, our special ed accounts. If you were to go to $500,000, it deepens the hole in operations, pushing off even further the inevitability of maintaining our aging facilities and reducing programs. If you go to $750,000, that hole now becomes a canyon, and in addition to the operational changes, there will be programmatic changes in such things as class size and extracurricular activities and the reinstatement of fees. If you go to $1 million, that canyon is now an abyss, and operations will be at a point where day-to-day operations will suffer. Programs such as athletics, talented and gifted, and music and the arts will be reduced or eliminated, and layoffs may occur. Those are the facts. Here's another fact. Contrary to what some might believe, there is no cushion or slush fund hidden in the Board of Ed budget. Many of the line items we fund are mandated, not necessarily funded by statute. That battle has to be fought elsewhere, not in Cheshire, if you don't agree with it. It remains that we must provide for over 500 special ed students through IDEA and the PJ decision regarding inclusion. Those court decisions were not in effect in 1967. As everyone on the town council knows, by statute, the Board of Ed decides where to allocate the funds from the financing authority, the town council. Here is my question to you. I have given you the facts, and I'm looking for some guidance as to which path to take. Do we eliminate programs and/or student activities, or do we eliminate maintenance, supplies, utilities, textbooks, and technology? Thank you. At this late juncture, any major decrease in our budget will cause us to defer any purchases of computers, equipment, maintenance, and classroom supplies. This just compounds the problems that we've been addressing, that we are right now dealing with maintenance, and what we are doing with medical benefits now. We do not want to eliminate programs in haste. If this community wants the elimination of programs, then we need to know earlier so that we can begin having public input and budget accordingly. If the council wants minimal increases in our budget, please let us know that from the beginning so that we can address this. Although they are not here in numbers, the parents and the community have a high expectation of our school system. The reality is, the fact is, at this point, you cannot expect us to take a hit today with further reductions and it not have an impact on the services that we deliver. The fact is, the impact of further reduction from the town manager's budget can and will be catastrophic the further you go with the reductions as I outlined before. The fact is, the impact will not be as heavily felt this year, but rather next year and beyond in salaries and benefits, utilities and maintenance, and instructional materials. The fact is, the impact will be felt throughout the town as folks will no longer desire to live in a town with a mediocre school district. The fact is that unless the financing authority is willing to address the fact that Cheshire is 136 out of 166 in per pupil spending in the state, there will not be the demand to move into Cheshire. While this is debatable, I believe the fact is that property values are a direct result of a healthy, superior school system. In a few weeks, I will be faced, along with my fellow board members, with some hard decisions, as you are today. Those decisions will be based on what you do in the coming days. I hope you have heard the facts and hope that you will stand firm and prevent the cascade and consider all of the facts as I've addressed above.